The Indigent. There is a camp found up at Huntington Lake that is meant for the employees of a religious teaching organization to visit and relax with their families. It consists of about 24 buildings spread out over several acres of land, and it is during the summer months that all of the buildings are utilized. When summer is over and the camp is closed, the buildings are boarded up to prevent Old Man Winter from encroaching and getting his hands inside. But despite the fact that the buildings are boarded, an incident occurred one winter, and it involves an indigent coming through this area of California. With the fall season progressing into winter, the first fall of snow is beginning to sprinkle the ground, and the first biting cold is beginning to emerge into daylight hours. On top of this, winter has come early this year, bringing an early snowfall to the area. With his traveling, it has led the indigent to this part of the country, particularly this patch of woods surrounding Huntington Lake. The sun has set and the indigent decides to hunker down for the night. Gathering plenty of wood after making camp, he constructs a fire. Tonight is a pretty cold one, but he has dealt with worse before. When morning comes and the indigent finally wakes up, he finds a figure squatting over the remains of the previous night's fire. Once seeing this figure, the indigent recognizes him immediately and is on his feet in an instant. Once accomplishing this task, he runs. The path that he takes leads him directly to the family camp. The first building that he comes across is one of the residential buildings. The building itself consists of 6 different cabins, with the dividing walls consisting of only a single piece of plywood. The building is also nestled right up against a hill, making the back 3 cabins somewhat difficult to get to. And when the snow comes down and piles up, these 3 cabins won't be able to be reached unless they are dug out or the snow melts in the summer. Upon reaching the back side of the building, the indigent manages to pry back the protective barrier that has been placed over the door to prevent the accumulated weight of the snow that builds up over the course of the winter from breaking down the door and damaging the inside of the building. Once he manages to get the barrier pulled back, he starts working on opening the lock on the door. The door's locking mechanism is nothing more than a doorknob lock that one pushes in to activate the lock. With a history of dealing with a variety of different locks, the indigent manages to release the locking mechanism and enters the small room. The room itself consists of a single bed, a cubbyhole to put one's clothing, a chair, and just enough walking space to get around. The room isn't meant for someone to engage in activities other than to sleep. Once inside the room, the indigent closes the door, engages the lock, props the door closed with the chair, and then curls up in the far corner of the room. With the arrival of a number of different winter storms, the snowbank builds up around the building, thus barricading and blocking off the indigent's room from the rest of the world. And even though this residential building isn't used during the winter months, the lodge and the bathroom building of Campfire. And with the activities that these winter visitors engage in, it takes them all around the surrounding woods. But it's not until the arrival of summer and the melting snow that the indigent's room is once again opened up to the rest of the world. As the employees of the camp begin the process of opening the camp and this particular residential building, they have no idea of the surprise waiting for them. It's not until they try and open the indigent's room that they begin to suspect that something is wrong. The first indication that something is wrong isn't the protective barrier that is in front of the door, but the chair that is propped up against the door. Because of the chair, they initially have trouble getting into the room, but with some persistence and some ingenuity, they manage to get in. And what a sight that they behold. Under other normal circumstances, all that they would have come across was the body of the indigent, which would have succumbed to either hunger or exposure. But this isn't your ordinary situation or circumstance, as we all know. When the indigent's body was found, it was sitting on the bed with his back propped up against the corner, and it is far from being in pristine shape. Looking at it, it appears that someone or something went to town on it with great ferocity. To say the least, the scene was a disturbing sight. But after coming to grips with this graphic scene and trying to forget the look on the indigent's face of mixed pain and horror, they realize that there are shoe prints leading away from his body. Each shoe print is fully formed and outlined in blood, without a single one diminishing as they lead away from the body. But these shoe prints don't go to the door as one would expect. What the shoe prints do is go directly to one of the other walls and goes right up to the ceiling, as if it's the most natural thing in the world. And once they reach the ceiling, they come to an end. Besides the shoe prints, there is something written on the wall as well. It is a simple but mysterious message. Debt paid with interest. Happy New Year.